Hello, dear friends. I bring a short lesson in geopolitics to show how the world works. Opening piece: Multipolar Disorder, Turning the Tide, New Financial Order. Everything is accelerating. The dominoes are falling. The Fed announces a recession. CERN opens up another dimension. Measures to avoid nuclear war. Mexico could revalue its currency in gold. Blockchain could be vulnerable. Stock market ends its worst half year in 50 years. Wells Fargo said we could have a big week. Let's start. A multipolar system of international relations is developing right now. The process is irreversible, has unfolded before our eyes, and is of an objective nature. The position of many countries is that this international order, which is supposed to be more just, should be built on the basis of mutual respect and trust and, of course, on the accepted principles of international law. The tide is turning. The Creator is turning the tables that were once turned against him and against the heart of humankind. These shifting tides and epic events unfolding and being released on this planet can be felt as thrilling eddies of discomfort, unease, uncertainty, open turns and triggers. They can also be felt as a welcome and refreshing breath of higher dimensional energy returning to this planet. I have the impression that the circumstances of the world are forcing us to do what we should have done ourselves long ago, but we were too dumb to see and too lazy to bother. But that's how everything from society and even parents programmed us to be materialistic who can see beyond their noses. I know I am a spiritual being having a three-dimensional experience. Polarity. Polarity in international relations is any of the various ways in which power is distributed within the international system. Generally, three types of systems are distinguished: unipolar, bipolar, and multipolar, for three or more centers of power. The type of system depends entirely on the distribution of power and the influence of states in a region or globally. For decades, terms such as New World Order, globalization, global governance, etc. have been used. These terms come from subordinate academics working for the elite involved in what is now called an unipolar world. The Great Reset is another term for the One World Order involving a council of the seven men who unite to dominate the world's population, and this group operates in a very hidden and cunning way. Unipolarity is a condition in which one state enjoys a preponderance of power and does not face competing states. A unipolar state is not the same as an empire or a hegemonic power that can control the behavior of all other states. Balance of power. Multipolarity is a distribution of power in which more than two nation states have roughly equal amounts of power. Classical realist theorists such as Hans Morgenthau and E. H. Carr argue that multipolar systems are more stable than bipolar systems, as great powers can gain power through alliances and small wars that do not directly challenge other powers. To balance the balance of power theory of international relations suggests that states can ensure their survival by preventing another state from gaining enough military power to dominate all others. If one state becomes much stronger, the theory predicts that it will take advantage of its weaker neighbors, prompting them to join together in a defensive coalition. So, realists argue that a balance of power system is more stable than one with a dominant state, since aggression is not profitable when there is a balance of power between rival coalitions. When threatened, states can seek security by balancing, allying with others against the prevailing threat, or by jumping on the bandwagon, aligning with the threatening power. Other alliance tactics include the exchange of money and chain gangs. The old and the new. Advertising is being used to lay the foundations of the old Davos financial system to program the minds of the younger generation. These are the ones who are being used to convince the rest of the population to join the crypto spree, whose longevity in short is short-term, because regulations will come at the appropriate time. The old banking families and royalty would be the preferred class that would have access and total control over everything. People deemed useless would be given a steady diet of drugs and a digital world to live their lives in as they rapidly expire. The second international order would be a multipolar world, and currently some of the leaders of that order are the BRICS countries. The unipolar world order is heavily armed by the same old guard, while the multipolar world is led by a collective of people of diverse races coming together to share common goals of peace and equitable global leadership for building a better world, an alternative to the digital prison of the West. Mechanism. The Indian government has agreed to the proposal to activate the payment messaging system called SPFS, an alternative to SWIFT, which allows direct transfers from rupees to rubles in bilateral trade. The mechanism was developed by the Russian Central Bank and is expected to boost trade between the two countries by allowing consumers to continue shopping, bypassing sanctions, and it will allow countries to trade in their national currencies in the coming new global financial order. The national currencies of the member countries share a common goal: to form a new international reserve currency based on a basket of currencies to see more transactions take place in national currencies. To launch a new reserve currency, it is imperative to build a joint financial architecture to increase the proportion of settlements in national currencies. Work is therefore underway to establish a new global reserve currency based on the basket of currencies of the five nations. In addition, the bloc announced that it was working on the creation of a joint payment network to alleviate dependence on the financial system. Monetary system. An international monetary system is a set of internationally agreed rules, conventions, and supporting institutions that facilitate international trade, cross-border investment, and in general, the reallocation of capital between states that have different currencies. It should provide acceptable means of payment for buyers and sellers of different nationalities, including deferred payment. To operate successfully, a system needs to inspire confidence, provide sufficient liquidity for the fluctuating level of trade, and provide means to correct imbalances. The system can grow organically as a collective result of numerous individual agreements between international economic factors spread over several decades. Throughout history, precious metals such as gold and silver have been used for trade, sometimes in bullion form, and from early history coins of various issuers, usually kingdoms and empires, have been traded. Blockchain could be vulnerable. A report commissioned by the Pentagon's DARPA agency found that blockchain, the technology behind cryptocurrencies such as Bitcoin, is not as decentralized as the commonly thought and could be vulnerable to attack. Reset news. The Fed announces that the recession is a reality. Stocks send off worst half year in 50 years. Wells Fargo said we could have a big week next week. Mexico could be the first American country to revalue its currency in gold. Germany could be the first European country to join the new monetary system because they are having trouble getting oil and gas unless they comply with the new system. The problem will occur when Asia, the Middle East, and the Americas refuse to export their products and raw materials without a gold-backed currency. The dark side is rumored to be trying to create a fake digital currency system that would pretend to be backed by gold, but is not. An Australian digital bank fails, leaving 140 employees out of work and 6,000 customers competing to withdraw their money before the next week. Another bank run. Chinese elders are keen to clean up the CCP's communist regime through Xi Jinping. The CCP restricts the use of knives before their meeting. Curious. The White Hats have various security measures to prevent a nuclear war, but we will see further escalation in Eastern Europe and get closer to a scare event, says the Storm Rider. An era of industrial warfare means that no war can be sustained for more than a few weeks, according to Mike Adams. Americans will pay 17% more for 4th of July food. US farmers rise up and block roads with their tractors in protest at the restrictions. Chaos begins over flight delays as Delta pilots warned of a perfect storm. Akron, Ohio braces for riots after police fire 60 shots at a fleeing black man. Swarm of earthquakes shaking South Carolina increases. Native Americans have called on Democrats to stop building their abortion clinics on tribal lands. European Union condemns its people to poverty after passing an emissions bill. Poland completes border wall with Belarus to repel African and Middle Eastern migrants. CERN director Sergi Bertolucci says, in quotes, CERN's Large Hadron Accelerator could open a door to another dimension, and something could come out of that door, or we could see something through it. Close quotes. All of which has already happened. The door to hell was already opened many years ago, but maybe they want to sensitize people or send the demons back. They know very well that their time is up. When the demon has no more food, he will take them all away. It sounds strange, but it is true. Acceleration. Message from Matthew through Susie Watt. A significant amount of darkness has been removed. Much more will be uprooted in the coming weeks and months. thus ending the long reign of the controllers. Until then, this tenacious group will wreak havoc wherever they can. With everything in acceleration mode, the dominoes will soon fall around the world. That has been achieved will be reported as soon as possible. If that intervention becomes necessary, they could claim it is a coup and mount resistance, or they could try to cause panic by staging a fake holographic alien invasion because they are desperate. They have a global network with a pyramid hierarchy, and people at higher levels have influential positions in governments and in all the national and international institutions and organizations that impact life around the world. The farther down the hierarchy people are, the less they know about what goes on in the pyramid, and they don't even know they are part of a pyramid. The many millions who are here have no idea that their jobs are supporting a group that operates in secret and whose purpose is unknowable. People are separating the wheat from the chaff, seeing the counterproductiveness of division and the benefits of dialogue on how to make changes that we all see unneeded. This cooperative approach at the grassroots level is a good step forward in the awakening of civilization. Another encouraging development is the emergence of technologies that were suppressed to prevent them from being used beneficially when they were being used to our detriment. The crews are making their ships visible often so that the population can become accustomed to their peaceful presence, thus bringing closer the day when they can greet you and space forces can present themselves. The prevailing frequencies are connecting you more intimately with your own God. Helping the peoples of Earth to awaken is your vital mission, but that is not the only reason you are here. While it is true that the third density world presents challenges that the worlds you left did not, your life is meant to be enriched by family and friends, the beauty of nature, satisfying productivity, and the pleasures of leisure. This is a propitious time to be introspective, to reflect on whether your actions or inactions may be obstacles to that kind of life. You may find that you are timidly spinning your wheels rather than confidently pursuing a job of greater interest, or taking the next step in a meaningful relationship, or moving to where you would prefer to live. That is what I am doing now. Perhaps you'll find that life would be more fulfilling if you paid attention to your intuition rather than trying to meet the expectations of others. Or you would be happier if you let go of the past and let go of feelings about disappointments. The current frequency will help you to do this. You can adjust more easily to the ever-increasing frequencies if you breathe deeply and rhythmically, get enough sleep, eat lightly, drink plenty of pure water, and spend as much time as possible in nature. Love yourself. Be happy and grateful that among the many souls who volunteered, you were chosen to participate in the most dynamic global transformation in universal history. Besides, what you are doing is benefiting the entire universe. The dark forces are a massive force field of low-frequency forms, but love is more powerful than that force field. That energy is the essence of the Creator Source, the origin of all that exists in this universe and in the cosmos, because the energy of love is anathema to dark forces. It is an impenetrable protective fortress for spiritually unconsciously evolved civilizations. Approximately 2 millennia ago, self-serving leaders of church and state began to alter historical records. Gradually, material was removed, paths were rewritten, made-up stories and invented dogmas were added, and the composite is the Bible. Later, wealthy families such as the Medici established the banking system in Italy, which gradually became a world economic control and put family men in the papacy to spread the Roman religion and its influence among adherents. And that is why false information and omission of information about real facts abound in their textbooks and newspapers, and on censored television, radio, and the internet. And that is why movies and games glorify violence and war. Movies and games also portray aliens as fearsome monstrous entities invading Earth to slaughter everyone and destroy the planet. This insidious form of mind control has programmed the unsuspecting public to think, feel, and believe what the dark ones want them to believe. However, they can never control anyone's intuition, hope, optimism, inspiration, or reactions. Thanks to the prevailing frequencies, this sacred inner light is motivating many of the population to embrace the light emitted by distant civilizations and radiated by light workers on Earth. And that's all for today. Thanks a lot, dear friends.